We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5. Gotta hustle on your own time. Color people every port side. We just people from the north side. Once the Timmy's hit the shore fine. Winter ready on the full ties. Heavy traffic during 4-5.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy, George Mackay, back in the Straight Talk Studios. And man, oh man, do I got a good one. One of the baddest women in pro wrestling, period. Current Knockouts Women's Champion, 3-time Knockouts Champion, the one and only virtuoso, Deonna Purrazzo. Deonna, welcome to Straight Talk Wrestling.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no problem. So my first question, let's talk Rebellion. Sold out crowd, taking that title back for your third title reign. What was it like putting that strap over your shoulder for the third time and being the top of the mountain in the Knockouts division?
It's always like a dream come true. I think I was more emotional this time than I was the other two times because there was a crowd finally. You know, I was a pandemic champion. I didn't get that reaction. And throughout mine and Jordan's entire match, and it was incredible. And it was kind of, the crowd likes both of us, right? But I felt like they were there for me a little bit more. They wanted to see me win just a little bit more. And it was emotional. On top of, I think that I tried to turn off my emotions all day knowing, okay, I'm winning the championship, Steve's winning the championship. We ignored each other all day long just because we didn't want to get emotional. So I think once that bell rang and they handed me the championship, it was just like a flood of like, it's over and I did it and we both did it. And how incredible is that?
It absolutely is. Now, you guys are arguably the power couple right now of pro wrestling. You're both rocking the highest titles in your respective organization. What is that like in terms of being a power couple in pro wrestling? A lot of couples don't get to share that title reigns at the same time. You guys, I believe, are on a very short list of people.
Yeah, there's been, 3 with an Impact. I don't know anywhere else if that's happened like that before. And I think it's definitely something we don't take for granted. And like I said earlier, like I don't think we thought we'd be here. I don't think we thought we'd win the titles and be champions at the same time, let alone on the same night. So it was kind of like a really special thing that we're never going to forget for not just our careers, but our lives. But then also too, like we are a wrestling couple, so like wrestling is very much our everyday lives. Every day of the week, there's wrestling on in our house. We're talking about wrestling. We're, talking about ideas and what we could do and match things. And like, it's just really nice to have, obviously we're married, my husband, but also the person I can trust the most in my profession, be right by my side to guide me and help me be the best possible Knockouts World Champion I can be. And vice versa for the knockout, for the Impact World title.
Absolutely. I could not disagree with anything that you said. Now, you talked about being a pandemic champion, winning the title when there was no crowd, to winning the crowd when there is a crowd. I mean, obviously, the fact that you're able to carry that strap throughout all these different versions of the world. And again, a lot of champions haven't been able to do that. You've seen an evolution where we couldn't get together to now where we can't get enough of each other and we're like sardines again. And it's fantastic. I thought I would miss it, but I thought I wouldn't miss it, but I don't. I love it. I love every minute of it. What's it been like, I guess, from those two progressions of those two particular title reigns, no crowd and crowd? I mean, crowd is just that extra oomph of energy that you need when you're out there, right? Especially in the later stages of a match.
Absolutely. I mean, we could not do what we do or be who we are as professional wrestlers if it wasn't for the crowd and the people who give us that energy and that little bit of like, I need to keep going because they're behind me. So it was a bit weird to have that first match with Jordan, Slammiversary 2020. And, we put these matches together sometimes with the crowd in mind. And if I do this, then maybe they'll react this way. Or, in theory, they should react this way. And then there's no reaction. But you still feel that in your head because we're conditioned to it. So I think those first few times, I was also starting my journey here at Impact then and figuring out who I was going to be and who the virtuoso would become. I was, obviously the bad guy with a big chip on my shoulder. And I think fast forward, it's been 2.5, almost 3 years, and I know my place. I know my role and I'm comfortable in it. And I think that I've had an attitude change of like, I deserve to be here. I know who I am. And I'm open to any competition that wants to try to dethrone me because it's going to take a really special person to do that. So I think with all of those changes that I've had internally as a wrestler, just adding that crowd back in there makes it that much better.
Absolutely. It feels almost like a level up moment in this particular title reign for you because, like you said, in the beginning, you had a chip on your shoulder. Now, fast forward to 2.5, almost 3 years later, you know who you are and you know where you need to be. Evolution is a necessary thing for a wrestler to evolve their character, but also in pro wrestling. In terms of evoluting this already amazing history and lineage that the Knockouts division has, what kind of goals have you set for yourself in this third title reign to get the Knockouts division to kind of where the Virtuoso wants it to go this time around?
Yeah, so I've not been shy about women main eventing. I said it, during the pandemic. I said it last year. I want more women to be main eventing pay-per-views. And we saw myself and Mickey James do it for the very first time. Hard to Kill 2022 in the Texas Death Match. And then it took a whole nother year to see women main event on a pay-per-view again. Jordan Grace and Mickey James, Hard to Kill in January. So Jordan and I getting to do the main event at Rebellion was only the third time that women have main evented a pay-per-view for the Knockouts World Championship. And my goal is to have that be a consistent thing. So we've seen it 3 times with only 3 women. I'm interested to see, and I want someone to do it, step up to the plate and say, I'm going to take that spot from Deonna. I'm going to take that spot from Jordan. Or when Mickey's healthy, I'm going to take it from Mickey, because we're the only 3 women to do it. And I think we've seen a tremendous talents come into our Knockouts division. Kylan King, Killer Kelly, Masha, Taylor Wilde has reinvented herself again. Trinity just debuted. Who is going to take that spot from one of the 3 of us and consistently main event? That's my goal. It's always going to be my goal, elevate women's wrestling and our Knockouts division. But I want someone to dethrone me. I can't wait to see who that person's going to be.
Absolutely. You mentioned a list of names there that we could talk forever. In terms of your career thus far, which I would say the last 3 years alone has definitely put you in a conversation for Hall of Fame down the line, 150%, because you've earned it. But in terms of the Knockouts division now and the battles that you've had with stars like Mickey James in that Texas Death Match, side note, real quick question about that. You still have some scars from that? Because you guys almost killed each other. You know that, right? You did. You almost killed each other.
We did. Luckily, no. I'm 100% good. There was like a bit of my hair missing from where I bled, but it's finally growing back in. That was the last piece.
That was the last piece of the proverbial puzzle. So now you would say you were 99% healed. Now you're 100. You're good now, right?
Yes,
But
never ready again, but I'm good.
Okay. But in terms of, like, again, some of those names that you mentioned, everybody has a fight forever opponent. I could arguably say that you and Mickey could fight forever. You and Jordan can definitely fight forever. I'm looking at the lineage of the Knockouts division, the history, the present, and the future that is very, very bright. I think right now, you and Trinity could have a best of 7 series that would just knock the socks off of any wrestling fan, especially Impact Wrestling fans, new and old, that don't really know how great this division is and how the evolution of women in pro wrestling really started and continue to thrive with this Knockouts division.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, if you ask me who my fight forever opponent is, 100% hands down on Jordan Grace. But yeah, I mean, Trinity coming in really throws our mix of women and elevates us all completely. And I said to Trinity live in the ring last week, like, I know exactly how you're feeling, and I do. That was genuine, because it's scary to go out and myself prior to Impact didn't know if I wanted to wrestle anymore, or didn't know if this was for me, or did I have a passion for this. And I really feel like she chose the right place in coming to Impact Wrestling, because there's no right and wrong here. You're out here getting opportunities and making history and getting opportunities to be whoever you want to be. And I'm so excited for Trinity to see who she chooses to become and how she elevates our division. And eventually, if we do meet down the road, whether it's for the Knockouts World Championship or not, how in turn she's going to elevate me, because she will, without a doubt.
150% agree with you with that. And that actually brings up another question to add to the conversation. We've got the Knockouts Tag Team titles. We've got the Knockouts World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
There could arguably be a conversation for a trios championship in that Knockouts division, because there are so many women that complement each other in that sequence of 3. Would you say that might be something that you would like to see explored if more women were to join this Knockouts division and that roster grew to where it could grow?
Absolutely. Like I said, I want all of the opportunities for our division. So if there's more women that come in the door and it makes sense for us to do that, then 100% find me two other people and I want to be a trios. But I think, we do have a Knockouts World Tag Team Championship division. And, we have kind of just two tag teams right now that rule that division. The Coven, who are the current champions, and then the Death Dolls. So I think before there's a trios division, I think we grow that Knockouts tag team division first. But like I said, if there's ever the opportunity and the women to do it, then let's do it 100%. And Impact is the right place to do it because they'll treat it right and it will get story and time and it won't just be a thing thrown to the side.
Absolutely. Again, there's nothing that you could say for fear of my own personal, the fact that you could break me in half in any given second. But I agree with everything you say, not because I'm afraid of you. You are hands down one of my favorite wrestlers. I'm not going to say women in wrestling because that's so cliche. You are one of my favorite wrestlers. You kick ass, you take names, and you smile doing it, which, I mean, that just proves you have fun. You actually mentioned a little bit earlier ago in the conversation that we're having that you weren't sure if you wanted to wrestle anymore. When I sat down with Mia Yim when she was part of the Impact roster, she kind of said the same thing. And she said that Impact helped reignite that fire. She almost said like the pilot light had gone out. And all of a sudden, Impact made it flicker, then spark, then just burst into a flame. Would you say that Impact has also done the same thing for you in terms of reigniting your passion for this business, this sport that we both love so much?
100%, hands down. Like, I couldn't have said it any better. When I left NXT, I was just in a really weird professional space, in a really weird personal space. And for me, it was like, I don't know if this is for me anymore, or maybe I just need some time away from this because I was so wrapped up. And I had so much going on in my personal life. And I just was like, I don't even love me at this point. How can I love what I'm doing with my life? So 100% I was hesitant when Scott D'Amore had called me to come in. And I was just kind of like, let's see what happens. And I didn't know if this was going to be the place for me because I didn't know that wrestling was the place for me anymore. But the day I walked into the locker room, there were so many familiar faces, so many people that were excited to see me with the possibility to work with me. And that was a feeling that I hadn't felt in a really long time of like, wow, my presence is wanted and people see potential in what I can do. And, on top of that, it was like, you're going to jump in a story with Jordynne Grace and here's the Knockouts World Championship and we're going to prove the world wrong. It wasn't just me saying, I want to prove the world wrong. I had a company behind me saying, we're going to prove the world wrong. You are exactly who you think you are, and you just needed the platform to do it, and we're giving you that, so have fun. And like I said earlier, there's never been mistakes. There's never been like trepidation of like, oh, how are they going to feel about that? Or am I going to get in trouble? Or it's a family. There's camaraderie here to be, people like to call us the misfits or, you know what I mean? Like the unwanted toys or whatever we are. But we all come together in that and say, we're gonna push this company's boundaries and we're gonna make history and break glass ceilings and we're gonna make those people who feel lost love this again because we love this. And if we can establish that as an entire locker room, then you have no choice but to feel it. And I hope, Mia said it, I've said it, I know so many other people have, but I really hope that Trinity feels that when she comes into our women's locker room.
I have no doubt that she will. And speaking of Impact breaking barriers, I mean, Australia, it's coming. Canada, you guys have already made your second home. I mean, let's be honest, Canada is one of the greatest places next to New Jersey, right? Am I right?
Yes.
But you're going to Australia. The world is literally now going to be it could start off as a whisper and it's going to explode and take Impact to where it needs to be now. I'm not going to say the glory days because that's so cliche, but it's going to take this new breed of locker room, this new leadership. Everything that's happening is on the uptick from your media to everything like that. All of it and above. You guys are hands down not the misfits of pro wrestling anymore. In my honest opinion, you guys have always been the ones to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I said that. And then when I said it, I was like, I hate that I say that because I don't agree with it. You know what I mean? I feel like we all have our place in this business. And I do think Impact doesn't necessarily get the credit it deserves. And people are so willing to jump on like the hate Impact train and not give us the actual chance. Because if you sat down and you watched our show tonight, there's something for everybody. There's entertainment, there's technical wrestling, there's high flying, there's lucha, there's comedy. And no matter what you're a fan of, you're going to come away from watching our show saying like, that was good, and I could watch that next Thursday, and then grow from there. So you're gonna find your new favorite wrestler or someone that you were on the fence about, and find someone to support. So I agree that like this past year, we've just like our trajectory has gone upwards. Whether it's our shows in Canada, Toronto was sold out for Rebellion. That was our 5th sellout for our pay-per-view events, and then couple that with Australia, now we're going worldwide again. It's been a long time since Impact has traveled overseas, and I am so proud to be a part of that tour.
Absolutely, and you will shine like the virtuoso you are. I will ask one more question, then I'll get you to shout out the podcast, because I know we've had one heck of a conversation, and I do want to let you know now, you are now officially a member of the Straight Talk Wrestling family. Anytime you want to come back, we would adore to have you. Now my final question, and it's a big one.
Okay.
You and Steve Maclin, you guys talk wrestling. You live, breathe, eat, wrestling. Everything is wrestling.
Yeah.
Have you ever had those conversations of if you two were staring each other down the ring, who would win? I have. In my own head, I know who would win, but I want to hear who you think would win.
I think I would win. And I think I would win.
Actually, you know what? I can vouch for that, because when I had Steve on the show, I asked him point blank. I'm like, who do you fear the most in the Impact locker room? He goes, without a doubt, my wife. She could kill me. And you know what? And it takes a strong man to admit that his wife can kill him. But the thing is, you couldn't just kill him. You could kill him, break his arm, and then when it's all said and done, you'll look at him and say, I still love you though, Steve. Well, good for you. You tried.
What a relationship dynamic, hey?
It's very reminiscent of 90s television. It really is.
Yeah, he actually did. He sat down with Lars for the podcast, and Lars had me come in and was like, okay, same question. You're looking at each other. What's the type of match? Who wins? What's the finish? And Steve looked at me. He's like, she wins with the pile driver. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, it's a 60-minute Iron Man match, one fall. I win, pile driver.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think that's a great way to end this conversation. Deonna Purrazzo, Impact Knockouts World Champion. You are a gem. You are a badass. You are all of the above. You check all the boxes on everything. And also, you're one hell of a conversationalist. And your laugh is contagious, by the way. Your laugh is amazing. Don't ever change the laugh.
I will try. I was born with it.
There you go. I love it. Absolutely. Before you go, if you could look in the camera, give me that virtuoso energy and just say you had an amazing conversation with Straight Talk Wrestling. And everyone out there in YouTube land should subscribe, because Deonna Purrazzo is part of the Straight Talk family.
Yeah. What's up, guys? This is the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo. You are 3-time Knockouts World Champion, and you're listening to Straight Talk Wrestling. Click the link and subscribe now, because I told you to.
I love it. Fantastic. Guys, that's it for this one. My guest, the Impact Knockouts World Champion, the one and only virtuoso, Deonna Purrazzo. I'm your host, your boy, George Mackay. Peace, love, and wrestling. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and turn on that notification bell so you get notified each time we post a video. Alternatively, you can check us out on all podcast platforms and hosted on Podbean. We are also available on the SNME network. That's the Sunday Night Main Event Patreon. Please feel free to check us out there as well. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at _Straight Talk on Twitter, at Straight Talk Wrestling on Instagram, Straight Talk Wrestling on Facebook, Straight Talk Wrestling on TikTok, and of course, you can check out all our merch at ProWrestlingTees.com.
I don't need a nigga cosign. Without the liquor, you become a victim. You ain't never got a pole mine. I ain't messing with this generation. Fuck your gender, I ain't got...